5
He
seconds.
said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy Gazpacho.
Bournemouth can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Right, did you know that Arsenal died?
These got me buzzing.
Up the talkies. It's hard to up with anybody.
I ain't gonna comment on that.
1 and live.
Welcome back to another episode of Footy with the boys. We are hitting you with one less boy, but much more quality. It's quality over quantity pod here, as somebody has become a bit too ball and chain to the old wife, has to celebrate her birthday or something. Mike, would you ever simp that hard?
I'm not a married man, so I can't say, but taking care of domestic responsibilities is a noble cause.
Noble cause over there in San Fran, but over here we are going to be grinding away the podcast, and the first piece of business, which has been a piece of business for about the last 3 years, Mike, it is Mbappe deal to Madrid. It was officially reported for about the 12th time. This time with some actual numbers. I believe it was 121 million signing bonus, 15 million a year. So his annual salary isn't necessarily that crazy for Real Madrid, but obviously that signing bonus is wild. But I think my main concern here is Mbappe going to Real Madrid. Is it just going to be Real Madrid, Man City every year for Champions League, you think?
Yeah, those seem like the two powerhouses to me. They have the deepest squads, the most quality young players, and the only one who's kind of close from a talent pool, I think, is Bayern Munich, but the way they're playing recently, they're not in that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, you see the two huge stars of our growing generation, of the Erling Haaland Mbappe battle between those two of who's the best in the world, and they've both gone now, obviously assuming that Mbappe to Real Madrid is fully confirmed, as it's been fully confirmed 12 different times. But both of them are going to teams that do not need them in any type of way. Man City, without Erling Haaland, was incredible. Yes, with him added, they win the Champions League. Real Madrid, on a different level too, they won the Champions League without Kylian Mbappe. They had no problem. Now you're adding Kylian Mbappe. Problem for everyone else. That is something to behold. Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid, a bit of a KD to the Warriors move, if I do say so myself. But Mike, there's a huge matchup this weekend in the EFL Cup Final. A chance for silverware for two of the biggest teams in England. It is Liverpool. It is Chelsea. You could not write a better script here. If you're Liverpool, you're going up against a Big Six team, but you're not necessarily going up against somebody who's on fine form. It seems like a good chance for them to get a trophy in a title race that seems anything but certain. And for Chelsea, you are certain in your title race that you are not getting the Premier League. So this is your chance for a trophy. You better go all out. And Mike, there's certainly a chance due to injury here. Up to 10 players potentially out for Liverpool, including Salah, Nunez, Matip, Jota, Alexander-Arnold, Alisson, Szoboszlai, Thiago, Curtis Jones. I mean, does Chelsea have a good shot here? Where are you seeing from this game? What do you think is going to happen?
Wow, yeah, I knew there were a lot of injuries. I didn't know Salah was back on that list since he played this weekend.
A doubt.
Okay, a doubt. But that's major. And yeah, that's going to play into it because Chelsea's almost healthy, or the most healthy they've been all season, with a lot of their big guys back, and Cuckoo being the biggest name for sure. So that plays into the fixture. And you're right. This is Chelsea's one opportunity this season to get some silverware. They're not in FA Cup anymore. They're really out of the Premier League race, and they're not in any European competitions. So this is it, and it's a big one. And this might play into Pochettino securing himself a longer term, a longer stay, because it's not going all that well. For Klopp, he's still got it going as this is his swan song so his players will be up for the task for sure. They know the quadruple is still alive, something that's never been achieved in English football, being still an FA Cup, the race, and Europa League. Lot to play for here. It'll be interesting to see what that Liverpool team really is, the starting 11. They do, thankfully, have some younger guys who are emerging in those ranks. The Connor Bradleys are stepping up. They have Kwanzaa, who is a solid center back option to play next to Van Dijk. Kelleher's a good goalkeeper, a great number 2 at that. And the attacking 3 that they will have available with Darwin Núñez, Diaz, and Cody Gakpo, that's still a pretty fantastic front line to go at them. I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be a great competition, and I really couldn't give you a score prediction. I have no clue.
Yep. I think anytime you have a final, it's going to be a good game. Anytime you have a matchup between big 6 teams, it's going to be a good game. Chelsea certainly have the talent, and you've seen it at times throughout the year, but the biggest thing is they've just not been consistent with it in any way. But I think it's a huge chance that if Liverpool won't have a roster that has been able to be consistent because they haven't had to play that much, I think that Chelsea has a pretty good shot here. But Mike, is Mo Salah just the X factor here? If Mo Salah is there for Liverpool, I think it'd be very hard for that Chelsea defense to keep Mo Salah off the score sheet in a final. He just seems like the inevitable player for Liverpool, in a Liverpool side that knows they're fighting for a trophy for Jurgen Klopp and knows that this is a chance to start a potential historic final season in terms of a trophy. Do you think Salah being in or out changes your opinion on who wins this game?
Yeah, it could 100% decide the match. He is the best player in either squad when everyone's available, and he is more than likely to come up with a goal or an assist in every single match he plays. So definite X factor, and even if he weren't to score but played, it would factor in to Chelsea's tactics, having Chilwell stay a little deeper. If Salah's not in the game, he's probably going to have a little bit more free roam to get forward into the attacks, which it'll just change everything. Definite X factor.
Yep, I think
it's looking more unlikely than likely here.
Yeah, it does not look very great. I will say that the main report here that we're seeing is King Foot, that he is out, and the other ones are saying doubt. So I don't know if I'm fully believing that one, that he is ruled out quite yet. I don't think Liverpool would decide to put him out for a Sunday game on Tuesday, but you know what? King Foot may be a prophet there, know exactly what's happening. But Chelsea, coming off a draw for Man City that I think if they finish their chances, they get a result there. Liverpool, coming off a lot of injuries, we could see a result not go their way here. Mike, before we close out this preview, give me a score prediction for this game.
I didn't want to give you one. I was trying to try to get away from that.
That is why I asked here.
Penalty shootout, Liverpool win on pens.
Wow, who's hitting the winning pen?
Virgil van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk, top left corner, absolute banger. You heard it here
I doubt
first.
they'll have him go 5th, but why the hell not?
Who knows? Let's get into the Premier League. The first matchup and the biggest matchup of this weekend is Arsenal-Newcastle. Certainly you could say that these teams, one has been performing up to expectation, and one, especially from their expectation at the start, has fallen off what they would be really wanting to see themselves as. It is a title challenger versus a team that is fighting just to find themselves back in Europe this season. Mike, Arsenal could not be on better form, but Newcastle played them in a tough game earlier this season, and Newcastle know how to play big games, although they've not been in good form. Do you think this is a game that, I mean, you can't not get up for a game versus Arsenal? Is this a game that Newcastle can kind of get their gears going, or do you think Arsenal's just on too much of a roll right now?
I think they'll attempt to give him a fight. But Arsenal is just on a heater right now. They're a juggernaut. They're the most informed team in the league by some margin, in my opinion. Yeah, Newcastle did beat them in a gritty match earlier this season, a 1-0 that Nick felt some type of way about. Bruno Guimaraes got under his skin a bit, as he does with, almost every team he plays against. I think Arsenal has enough here. They've really found an 11 that's working for them in the moment, with Trossard coming into the mix in the front three and having that interchange with Havertz in the midfield. I know Nick loves it. I know most of the Arsenal fans love it, and it seems to be highly effective. So I don't expect them to make major changes with that 11 that's worked for them the last couple of matches. Their back line also is an absolute unit. They're a wall. They play a 4 center back system with their lack of fullbacks that are available currently. And with the way it's working, I wouldn't be surprised if this is something they continue to do. Ben White's been phenomenal on the right side. Kiwier's had a resurgence these last couple of games. And it's going to be hard for a depleted Newcastle to attack to really have a mark or an impact against these guys. I don't know if they'll have Callum Wilson available. I know Isak is still dealing with an injury, so it'll probably be some combination of 3 wingers or a midfielder in that attacking 3, which doesn't bode well for the physicality aspect. If I had to say a way that Newcastle could score, it would 100% be on set pieces with the killer that is Kieran Trippier swinging a ball in, and one of the center backs getting onto it, if that's Shar or Botman. But set pieces are going to come into effect for Arsenal as well. They've been phenomenal with them recently, really well dialed, and almost getting a goal from every single game off a set piece. Jared, do you back Newcastle a little bit more than I do? Do you think they'll actually have a legitimate shot to get a tie or a win here?
That's the thing, is while you were saying that, I was thinking of how Newcastle can win this game, and certainly they've shown quality towards the start of the year, but I can't think of a single spot that they're really better than Arsenal at. I mean, you could have said last year that their defense was amazing, and maybe that's the difference. They can sit back and then counter, but their defense hasn't been that great this year. It's forced their offense to have to put in a bunch of goals. Isak out, and Arsenal has a good defense, and Saliba, I don't think you can go against them. And man, on the attack, can Newcastle, who's been leaking in goals versus a Luton, they let 4 in versus Luton. Are they going to stop an Arsenal team that scored 6 and then 5 in the same game? I think as ugly as other games for Arsenal versus opposition has been, this one has the potential to be just as ugly, if not more. I mean, man, this is 2 teams that were in the Champions League this year, and I honestly don't see it being that close. Is that
the fix? Is
I know
put all your money on fucking Newcastle.
Yeah, honestly, betting advice. That means
house.
Bet the house on Newcastle. But Mike, is that rose-colored glasses over the last 2 games that Arsenal is just putting chances away, and I'm not seeing everything right? I mean, they've won 5 in a row, and their last 2 are 6 and 5. You can't really be hotter than that. And Newcastle, they've been lukewarm at best.
Yeah, Nick's gonna hate us when we absolutely jinx this game and Arsenal
are
somehow loses.
100% jinxing it, but
We're setting it up for that. But I think you're right. When you score that many goals, they're not against great teams in West Ham and Burnley, but West Ham at one point this season was pretty much at par with Newcastle. They were going neck and neck in the same area in the table, getting similar performances, beating similar teams. So, yeah, I don't think Newcastle's as bad as West Ham is currently, but I have to back Arsenal. I really just don't see it going any other way. One other side note, I was looking it up on Isak's injury just to double check. It looks like there's maybe a chance that he'd be available. He is rumored to be close to a return, whatever that means. So we'll have to keep eyes on that for this upcoming game.
Yep. And Mike, just to close it out here with Arsenal, the main man, Bukayo Saka, has been a huge part of why they've been on such a crazy streak of form. Has he made that leap? Has he made that leap from what we said he needs to step up and start scoring goals and being that continuous difference maker? Has he stepped up to that point yet, or do you think there's still a little bit more of a leap to go?
He's definitely stepped up. The numbers are there. They're inarguable. Assists, goals, key passes, it's all there. And he's not really disappearing throughout matches. But I do think he could still take a step up. I really do. He's that quality of a player that a 20-goal season, a 25-goal season in the Premier League seems super feasible. I really think he can do it. And him being so young, not be surprised at all if it happens in the next year or two. I like his matchup here against Dan Burn. I think this is another chance for him to just continue to block out the haters and cement his legacy as the next one up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arsenal and Bukayo Saka have arrived. They have arrived.
They're here.
We go to a team that maybe needs to start arriving with some type of results. It is our Everton Toffees. Mike, they squeaked out. And when I mean squeaked out, they squeaked out a result versus Crystal Palace, a 1-1 draw there. I saw that as an opportunity that they really should have taken more points from. Going down 1-0 to 80-year-old Jordan Ayew getting the goal was a dagger. They find their way back to the draw, but now it's versus Brighton. What is your outlook on this game? Can Everton find some points here? Because, man, it's getting down to crunch time, and they're not looking like they're up to the task.
Yeah, I mean, this game against Palace is a weird one. It's one of those rare occasions where we dominate the ball, where we have a lot of possession, which is not our style of play whatsoever. We like to hit on the counter and put numbers behind the ball and let teams get open so that we can run. That didn't happen against Crystal Palace. It was definitely a disappointing tie. I was able to watch the replay of this match, and we had a lot of chances. Sam Johnstone put in a hell of a shift for Crystal Palace in goal. A lot of saves. Big Dom still being super unclinical with his heading. He could have had a few this game, and we got rescued, like you said, lucky to get a result by Onana coming off the bench. But Crystal Palace did have a new manager come in with Hodgson having to step down for medical reasons and poor form, probably a combination, so that could play into it. Going into this match, though, we did beat Brighton earlier this season. Crazy enough to say we gotta win, and I didn't back us then, but the way we got it, I'll back us now. I will. I think we can get at least a draw. We're going to be able to play more our brand of soccer this game because Brighton will have a majority of the possession. We have our guys back. We have Big Decore back at the 10. And no, he didn't score against Crystal Palace, but it was an instant changer of the dynamic of play. He is a huge body in that position. He gives the defensive midfielder and center backs trouble because he runs into the box. He's a physical threat. So I like our options. I like having all our players back.
Love a guy who's physical in the box.
I do. I do love a guy who's physical in the box. And even more so, I love James Tarkowski, the media man, the heartthrob, the flirt. He's just as great on TV as he is as a center back. So give me a goal from a corner kick, and I'll love you even more.
Yeah, a goal or a clean sheet would be very nice here, I think.
How about both?
Hey, I'd be a happy man. But I think Everton, you cannot take for granted that Luton are dropping points and losing games. And if you're not going to be getting the points that put you clear of them, obviously right now just above on goal differential with Luton having a game in hand, man, it's going to be tough at the end of the year to try and leave it all to one or two games. Everton need a result. I wouldn't even say win, get a tie, and I think that's a pretty good result here. We move to the team that I am wearing the jersey of, the Red Hot Red
Everton.
Devils.
I just want to say there's still murmuring going around that the appeal decision has been reached, that people inside Everton are aware of the decision. So hopefully that's public information sooner than later, but it does not sound good. It does not look like we're going to get any sort of boost or help for the rest of the season.
All right, so the appeal did not work, is what you're saying, is the rumor?
That's what I'm hearing, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, well, fuck. Anyways, we move to way to ruin the mood. We bring it down there with a death of Everton, and we're going to bring it right back up with the lively Manchester United Red Devils, who are on some type of form right now. Like 6-7 weeks ago, if we were saying Manchester United were on some type of form, I would be imagining it was a comical bit of form, that they were doing even worse than what we thought. But Rasmus Højlund has taken the league by its balls. I mean, six games with straight goals, the youngest player to do that, and he gets a brace in the last one. They have 4 straight wins, 5 unbeaten. They're 3 points off of 5th. I mean, versus Fulham here, do you see Fulham as somebody that can stop them?
Yeah, I do. I know we talked about Man U being in great form, and I was part of that conversation that, yeah, they could have a push for top 4, but I think Fulham is doing something here. Their new striker, Muniz, he's been scoring a lot of goals as well, and is in some sneaky form. So I see goals on both sides. Yeah, I think Manchester United is prolific and they figured something out, but I'm still not convinced in their transitional play. I think they can still get opened up at times. Their fullbacks are not super convincing. Luke Shaw is, but his reliability from a health standard leaves some to be desired.
Low.
And the big news that came out this weekend about the Manchester United midfield is maybe Casemiro's legs are gone. I heard it. I'm sure you heard it too. If your legs are gone, that is a scary thing to hear as a central midfielder. Maybe Fulham will take advantage of that. Maybe it's not true, but if it is, I like Paulinho and I like Pereira and I like Tom Kearney to give him some problems in the middle of the park.
I put McTominay in there. He's scoring a hat-trick. That is what McTominay does. Either way, I think this is a good matchup to watch, and certainly Jedi Robinson running up and down that wing and having to shut down the wingers at Manchester United, who are on some good form here, Garnacho in particular, will be a fun one to watch. We'll see if Tim Ream gets the start for Fulham, and the Tim Ream, the American Dream, going up against Rasmus Højlund. See if he can be the one to ice him out. But not the only American that I guess will hopefully be in action. We have Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest this week. Nottingham Forest did just get a win, so they kind of let some of that pressure off of their relegation fight. But I think, yeah, we can talk about Aston Villa being the better side, Nottingham Forest having pressure on them. The biggest headline here for us is Gio Reyna. How many minutes does he get? And certainly against an Aston Villa team that's going to be having them sat back defending the entire time. Does that... I mean, that looks pretty bad for Gio Reyna's prospects of getting many minutes here.
Yeah, it does. Definitely don't expect him to start. Do you think we see at least a feature off the bench this game?
I think at least 15 minutes. I think Aston Villa will certainly put them down. I don't think they're going to have a situation where they have the lead and want to defend, which is what kind of let Gio Reyna sit on the bench. So I think if they're chasing the game, they put on Gio Reyna and try and go after it because they'll have nothing to lose. But man, if it's 0-0 late, I think it'd be tough to say Gio Reyna is your option moving on and not 0. He might have a 0 on the minute sheet here, but
this
not
is
a big fan of the move.
A big game for both teams. Nottingham obviously still in the relegation battle, but Villa dropping a lot of points recently, not in great form, and losing to Nottingham earlier this season. This is a little bit of a test to get them back on track. Yes, I think they should be able to handle business against not that strong of a side. But there is some teeth, some venom in that Nottingham attack, especially with Awaniyi back, he is a problem, and he is a great striker, and he doesn't need that many opportunities to come up with a goal. So there's something to watch there.
Yep, certainly Aston Villa has dropped off quite a bit from their red-hot start, but gonna need to be able to prove themselves in these type of games if they really want to stick in that European Champions League conversation. We move to another team that is up there at the top of the table. It is Liverpool in our pole position at 57 points right now. They're going to be playing against Luton. Everything in me says that Liverpool should win this game, but it's not everything. Because there is one little voice in my head that says Liverpool may fuck over Everton by somehow drawing or losing this game to Luton, who seem to pull out just crazy results. Tell me I'm crazy here, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're crazy. Liverpool's going to win this game. I don't care that they have injuries. They're going to take care of business here. They don't drop points against these sides, even though Luton did give them a game earlier this season. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just praying for the best here as an Everton supporter.
We're going to knock on wood for that one.
And that's a little
make sure we
strange
don't jinx anything.
To root for the other Liverpool team. But that's the situation at the moment.
Yeah, right now it's literally anybody versus Luton is who you have to root for, and in this case it does come down to Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. We have another one, Mike. This one is just an absolute barn burner. It is Palace versus Burnley. You'd hope that Palace lose this, keep them in the relegation fight, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just further the gap from Burnley. I don't really know. Hope for a draw. Maybe a draw would be great. But I think Palace will have enough here. Glasner coming in as the new coach. He's a quality manager from what I've read. Successful stint over there at Eintracht Frankfurt. So they don't have all their players at their disposal, but they'll figure out a way to win this match.
Mike, I'm going to be honest. If Everton is fighting with Burnley by the end of the season, we are fucked. We're not going to be safe. If we're rooting for Burnley to be dropping points because we're fighting with them, that's not a good sign. But
I'm just thinking about that other decision that's coming sooner or later.
We'll get another 10 points off. Oh, we'd be finished. We would be a finished club at that point. There's no coming back. But for another team that hopefully should be finished with the amount of charges they have, it is Manchester City, who had a game today that took to the 70th minute for Erling Haaland to score the winner versus Brentford. In this week's matchup, they're going to be going up against Bournemouth. Bournemouth, a team that honestly has been showing some talent, but maybe not in the red-hot form they once were. Man City on that red-hot form. Is this the same case as a Luton-Liverpool matchup where the hopes might just be lost on deaf ears here?
Yeah, I think so. It's going to come down to City missing chances if Bournemouth wants success at this game. They'll probably look at what Chelsea did, identifying that space behind these fullbacks that are getting out of position for Man City or getting too invested into the attack, try to hit on the counter. That's going to be their game plan. And they do have some speed. Kluivert and Sinisterra on the wings are lethal options with Solanke in the middle. So maybe they'll have a chance or two getting on a counter. But with the amount that City's going to create and Haaland back on it, back on the lamb, back off the wagon, however you want to say it, it's a bad reading. Bad reading.
Yeah.
For Bournemouth.
Yeah, Bournemouth might not feel the greatest going into this week, as most teams going up against Man City do not. The next game is Wolves versus Sheffield. Palmer, congratulations, you just got 3 points. That's about how every game with Sheffield ends up going, and Wolves certainly will.
We are.
You know what? Actually, I will not finish that sentence.
Gave Sheffield some points, so
I will not say that Wolves will.
I would like to say
do whatever I was about to say.
Said that
I won't
beat
jinx
Tottenham last week, and we did. So,
Pedro
Okay,
Neto.
we gotta get you on
calling my
this
shot.
this locks combo.
Yeah.
He's one of the players to watch right now in the league.
Dude, he's
Just
the best goalie in
not
the
just
league.
on Wolves. But, well, if you're Flags, he's a goalie. But if you're anybody else, he's a right winger.
How long of a season it has been that in the first 5 or 6 weeks we were saying that Wolves would be a prediction to go down.
Yep.
With how bad they were playing in those first few weeks, they have really turned it around. Props to them. And our final game for our cleanup here is West Ham versus Brentford. Two teams that I don't really know who to favor here. Mike, do you have anybody that you're leaning one way or the other? I think Tony kind of evens it out for me.
I'll give it to Brentford. Yeah, I like their attack right now. And the one thing West Ham has going for him is Calvin Phillips won't be able to play with that red card suspension. So he won't be able to score against them.
Yeah, the biggest absence of this game is actually a plus for West Ham because Calvin Phillips has been absolutely dreadful for them. Man, somebody needs to check if he has a FanDuel account or something because he's doing something out
He's
there
throwing.
and it's not good. He is throwing and he's throwing more than Patty Mahomes. But that is it for our Premier League games this weekend. We move into the U.S. men's national team corner where really we just have to recap the PSV Dortmund game. Could have had Gio Reyna versus the American boys at PSV, but instead it's just those PSV boys. Two of them get to start, Malik Tillman and Dest, and boy, did they both cook this game. Malik Tillman was insanely good. He was creating chance after chance. Definitely did miss some chances to put his name on the score sheet and really make a huge mark on this game, but he was creating just about everything, getting a lot of chances, and ends up winning the penalty for PSV to get it even. Probably not a penalty if you guys saw that game.
No.
Mats almost gets the ball and then barely clips Malik
Lightly
Tillman,
grazes him. Yeah.
Yeah, but nonetheless, won the penalty that ends up getting them that goal. Serginho Dest, I implore you to look up the clip of him absolutely cooking Ryerson on the left wing. Serginho Dest has always been a saucy man, and I think it's right down there to the right on the screen there. But man, he just... Oh, that's not that. It's versus Excelsior. But he just absolutely cooked the shit out of Ryerson. Go ahead and look that up. Man was lost, brought to his knees. That is what Serginho Dest does. And this did mark, because Pepi was subbed in for Irving Lozano late in the game, the first time that 3 U.S. men's national team players have played in a single Champions League game. And of course, the first time that 3 of them have all been on the same team. So, U.S. men's national team on the come up here. But
Fantastic.
oh yeah, here it is. Look at this. Whoop! Drop him down.
Made
He
him
did
touch
have
earth.
a pass open to Pepi there and decided to take the shot, but you can't blame the guy. After you absolutely cook someone, you just...
Match, chances both ways. I think PSV definitely should have won this game with those
Yeah,
Tillman
they were
chances.
wasteful. They were wasteful.
Yeah, he dragged one wide and missed a pretty clear header. Chucky Lozano had a great game. Could have been sent off for some antics with the referee, but this is a big result, and they're going to be wishing they got a few more goals because it's going to be a tough away match at Signal Iduna when they play the next fixture.
Yeah, going against that yellow wall is certainly not going to be too inviting for a young PSV team, but with Serginho Dest on team, you're going to be cooking with confidence no matter where you go. You could send that guy to the moon and he'd be fitting in all right, doing roulettes and attacking from that left back position.
And even if you lose, he's going to post his highlight reel, so there's something to watch.
Yeah, even if you lose 4-1 to Arsenal, he is posting that Instagram highlight reel. You can see any highlight that he had, no matter the result. Are we moving into lock of the week here, Mike? Or are we with Nick?
Just quickly, I'll touch on
away.
the other Champions League game. Inter Milan and Atletico Madrid went at it today in the other Champions League fixture. Not too much to talk about here. There were chances on both sides. Marko Arnautovic gets the winner after missing definitely one sitter, a few other clear chances, but he does get it done. Good save from Oblak, and he gets the rebound to get the big win for Inter at home. The fans were jeering him at one point, but he walks away with the man of the match. In attendance, a certain American, Kanye West, who recently dropped a new album where he recruited Inter Milan fans to sing a chorus. That is on the song Carnival. If you have any interest in checking it out, do not condone some of the lyricism from Kanye West or some of his political takes. But having the soccer fans in on a song, definitely creative and interesting collaboration, and a very Kanye thing to do. Other than that, this will be a good one to watch for the next fixture at Atletico Madrid. Sure to be full of shithousery on both sides, particularly the Atleti bench.
Yep. Inter just literally always find a way to scrape out a 1-goal win in literally every game. They've done it in Serie A. They do it here in the Champions League. It's in their DNA. But we shall move to the locks of the week. And we do not have Nick's right now to present. We will get his pick later. Villa versus Fulham was a 2-1 win to Villa. So he gets the 1 point there, moves him up a bit. Man City drew with Chelsea, so I actually do not get a point for that. I was rather confident with a 3-0 choice there.
Not quite.
And
could have been.
Everton also drew with Palace, so Mike does not get his point there, but
it gets a point.
You can't knock him for riding with his team. The scoreboard is getting closer and closer. Nico with 11, me with 13, Mike with 11. This week matters a lot here, and my lock of the week this week is Aston Villa with a 3-1 victory over Forest. Free Gio. If Gio Reyna starts, I'll switch it up. Oh, we got Hacker Boy over here.
Oh my god, dude. I'm busting into the mainframe.
3-1 Villa. I think this proves who Villa is.
Who are they playing? Sorry.
If they lose this, they've proven themselves that I will not trust them for the rest of the year.
Who are they
Mike,
playing?
who is your
Forest.
Nottingham Forest?
I will take advantage of the fact that Luton has been promoted in our rankings. So I'll take Liverpool to beat them by a comfortable 2-0 goal margin.
Doesn't seem as comfortable as maybe
doesn't seem very
expect,
confident
but
of a scoreline.
I like
if
it.
Mo Salah was guaranteed to play, it would be more. But this game's tomorrow, and I doubt he'll be back by then if he's questionable for the weekend.
Yep. Well, we'll have Nick's lock next week to show you guys and see how he does. But the race is heating up. And there's only one thing that can be heated up more, and it is a potentially scarring question from our producer P. It is our one question with him. Palmer, take it away.
My question this week isn't that terrifying. I'll be honest. I'm more just curious about like actual things. Let me pull this up.
Switch up.
Yeah. So obviously, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about most of the time. That's about anything, let alone soccer. But now that I'm on this podcast and you guys are talking to me about all sorts of random things, it gets me thinking. So obviously our pod is mostly oriented towards the Premier League. But there's the Champions League, which you have to do well in the Premier League just to get to, right?
Yep. Top 4. Potentially 5.
Now, but I've also heard people say that the Premier League is the best league in the world. So my question pretty much is, what is the league to watch? If I was going to start watching soccer and I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, what league do I watch? Which one is the kind of the creme of the crop? You know what I mean? And why?
I mean, technically the Champions League, but I don't consider that much of a league, much more of a tournament of the best from each league. So, cream of the crop,
Champions League,
the best
like
teams.
March Madness?
It's essentially
like extended.
Yeah.
To explain it in very simple and very quick terms, and probably leaving out a lot of details that should be included. You take the best 3 to 4 of every single nation in Europe's best teams, champions, and you put them all in one league to make sure you can see who's the absolute best across all the leagues in Europe. So they play some group stage games, and then it's just knockout. So it's essentially like a World Cup, but for club teams in Europe, and it's done every year to figure out who the best team in Europe is.
And it's extended over the entirety of a European season. So those group stage matches starting in the fall, and those knockout features going all the way through the winter and spring. The final would be in May. So it goes concurrently with European League season, but they'll have these games every couple of weeks or months to play in this competition. I think it's the best, definitely the most interesting, where you see these teams match up with each other that don't play all the time. Seeing the champions of Spain play the champions of Germany, et cetera, et cetera. It's a cool thing to watch.
Deal, winning the Champions League or winning the Prem?
Well, it depends what you ask, but I would think most people would say the Champions League.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If it was winning any other league, so say if it was winning La Liga or winning the Champions League, it's a no-brainer that it's the Champions League. But the English fans have a little bit more
pride
in the Premier League, in the football pyramid as a whole. It's really ingrained, so they might say otherwise.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more competition at that top and historically for the English title, whereas in the other leagues, Man City, they're on a crazy run now, but they have to compete with all these other teams. But for every other league, it's Real Madrid or Barcelona really almost every single year, Bayern Munich almost every single year, Juventus, Inter, or AC Milan basically every year, and Napoli gets a few.
Is the Champions League usually
the French league is just PSG? Champions League, yeah, you have some teams that are crazy good, like a Real Madrid will win every 2 to 3 years, but for the most part, you get a good diverse cast of winners there.
I like that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Those would be the two I recommend as well: Premier League and Champions League. If you wanted some straight up competition, a good one to watch this year would be Bundesliga, with the changes up at the top. But it's a little bit more obscure.
What is that, the German?
That's the German league.
German.
Yeah.
The Bundesliga.
For general ball knowledge, being able to hold a conversation, if you watch Premier League, you're going to be able to talk to almost any soccer fan, because that's a universal watch.
Yeah.
This is very.
And then MLS, if you're a true enjoyer of beautiful football,
which starts tomorrow. Real Salt Lake versus Inter Miami. Diego Luna, Lionel Messi.
Who knows who's on Miami's team, but we do know who's on Real Salt Lake, and that is Diego Luna.
Yes, I will be paying attention more to the MLS this year than I have in the past. I think I watch semi-consistently. I can't guarantee a fully consistent watch.
Definitely the Miami games will be something to watch. See if Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, and Messi in their retirement home can beat the MLS teams here. But if preseason is anything to say, it might be more of a fight than they were expecting. So they also just made another $8 million signing. So they have a lot of moves to make sure they are fitting their roster rules, and I don't think they're going to be able to. So we'll see if Don Garber does anything about actually punishing them for that. But we'll cover that first here on Footy with the Boys when it does. Mike, you know the routine. Tell us who did something. Tell us what we're excited for.
No one died. Roy Hodgson did have a health scare this past week. We're glad that he's doing okay. He did have to leave his second tenure at Crystal Palace, but that is no stain on his career because he is a legend of the game. And I wish him all the best in his retirement. I would be really surprised if he takes another stint at manager, but crazier things have happened. And the only other news I could think of is the Women's Gold Cup kicked off tonight. Team USA, the women's national team, play shortly. Actually, kick off in just a few minutes. So go support the women's national team. They have some big roster changes so I've read. Alex Morgan just added a late addition to the squad, filling in for an injury there. So cheer on our women and good luck to them in the competition.
Yep. Good luck to them. The historically best women's national team just got the not historically, but current in terms of Premier League women's coaching, best coach in the entire world. Should be a good combination. We'll see how that works out. Her first tournament with the national team here. Until next time, we will see you. We are Footy with the Boys. Peace.